Okay, so we are ready to rock and roll. So we are so excited to see everybody again. We just spent a little bit of time sharing what we did over spring break. Looks like people did some fun things and some stressful things, and Susan got sick, but she's better, so that's good. So we have a fairly short agenda today. It is going to be short and sweet and to the point today. We don't want to take a whole lot of your time. I don't think we'll take the whole hour unless you all have a whole lot of questions. But if not, then we should be done here in less than an hour. So some of this is just going to be a little bit of a reminder. So here in the last, I want to say week or two, wouldn't you say, Susan?
Mm-hmm.
We've been getting lots of, as we're talking to you, or we're getting emails or calls, we're getting a lot of questions about initial evaluations. So we know, as we talked about in our last webinar, that we may see, or not we, Susan and I won't see it, but you guys would see an increase in requests for those initial evaluations. Again, a lot because of COVID and everything that's happening, that's been going on in our world. But just remember these things as you're doing them. Your 60-day timeline, especially if you're meeting now, we're here at the end of April, about to start May. Your 60-day timeline still counts over the summer. Summer break and school not being in session does not count. It's 60 calendar days. Right? So if you're meeting as an evaluation or referral team, let's say now or beyond, your 60 days is going to run well into June. So make sure if you're having those that you have staff and teams available to meet and conduct evaluations. Difficulty scheduling in the summer is not an excusable reason to not meet a timeline. Again, remember, if the federal government would not excuse COVID for a reason of meeting a 60-day timeline, then they certainly are not going to excuse that we couldn't get our psychologist. So keep that in mind as you're looking at these meetings. Now, we're not telling you you shouldn't evaluate, but when you're meeting as your MTSS, your RTI, somebody call it a sit team meeting, whatever you all are calling it, and you're meeting to discuss their progress, consider what additional supports can be done at this time. And also make sure you're having those conversations about COVID and learning situations that occurred this school year, right? Maybe it's not that they have a suspected disability. Maybe it's just that, with everything everybody else lost, they lost some learning and some time. So you really have to think about those. And this is where your RTI or MTSS process is essential, especially this year, and what's been happening. Do you guys have any questions? Since this is shorter, we can ask them about initial evaluations. Or Susan, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered it well.
Does anybody have any questions about initial evals that may happen now? If so, you can put it in the chat or unmute yourself. Nope. Okay, I'm going to move on forward then. And if you think of something we can go back to it at the end. So don't forget those child outcome summary form. Those are for our children who are turning 6 and have had at least 6 months of service prior to the birthday. We do an exit form. Remember, this is refresher for most of you. It's only going to apply obviously to our littles, but keep in mind, if you have kids that are turning 6 over the summer, you need to do those COSF exit forms before school gets out. So if you have kids that are turning 6 at, when school's out, like the middle of June or in July, make sure you do an exit form before they leave. I'll be sending you all a report. Oh, I'm looking at when it's due. It's due towards the end of June. So I'll probably be running that report here shortly in the next couple of weeks, sometime in May, and sending it out to those it applies to make sure we have all of the information that we need. Just a few reminders. Students who transfer in under the age of 6 get an entry if we don't get it from the previous district. When you're doing your exit data, y'all, please make sure you're looking at your entry data. We shouldn't see that students have regressed with services. That makes it look like we put them in special ed and we made them worse. So don't just randomly pick ratings. Make sure you're really looking and at that data, making sure that that exit is correct. If a student has left and exited, and then come back, let me know. Or I'm sorry, if a student has left and exited the building or the school and you didn't complete their exit data, let me know. I can reactivate them to complete that COSIF. Any questions about COSIF? Y'all are a quiet group today.
I think everyone's getting tired.
I know.
It's like-
Anything to add on that, Susan?
No, I love COSIF.
No, you don't. Okay, I'm gonna move on. ESY. Here we go, extended school year. All IEP meetings for students who may be recommended for ESY this summer must be completed and finalized by May 31st. That gives you about 5 weeks. So all of those ESY meetings that or students are considering for ESY services, you must have those meetings and finalize everything by May 31st. The information that I report to the state on ESY actually goes through Enrich now. So you don't have to fill out those Google forms like y'all used to do for those that apply to. So that's good. I will run that report, or maybe Jocelyn will run that report. One of us will run that report on May 31st by 5 p.m. You will then be sent your information for verification. That information must be verified no later than May 3rd. I'm gonna have to submit the report to the state. I think it's like May 8th or something. So we need a few days to be able to have time to look at it all and everything. Any meetings that are held after May 31st for ESY will not be considered in your count. Remember, for ESY, there is some funding. It is not a lot. It does not pay for your whole ESY services. It's a little bit to help out, but it's based on the numbers of what you give. So if you have a student and your team doesn't meet till, let's say, June 3rd, I'll have already reported that to, there's a chance it may have already been reported to the State Department, so they won't count. So please be very mindful. May 31st is our internal deadline. If you have students you're considering for ESY, you should have or should be reaching out to Susan or I so we can talk about those kids. Not everyone's going to get ESY because of COVID this year. Our eligibility requirements still apply for ESY. So if you have students that you haven't normally had in the past, then please let us know and let's talk through it. We are anticipating there probably will be some more. Then we
So
have
Laura, on the screen and the third bullet, it says must be verified no later than May 3rd. You meant June 3rd, right?
Oh yeah, good catch.
Stephanie got it.
I will fix that before we put this up.
Yeah, so clarification, Laura and or I, probably typically it's always Laura, but we'll send out verification emails to kids who qualify for ESY and Enrich no later than June 3rd.
Actually, we may have Jocelyn do it this year. It'll come from one of the three of us.
Hey, Laura.
Yes.
Quick question. So there will not be any Epicenter upload for ESY?
No, it's all going to be gathered in Enrich.
Yay.
Yep, no, it goes directly reported through Enrich now. So as you guys do your IEPs and stuff, the program reads it, and then that's how I submit it to the state now.
Great.
Yeah, they've made a little, they changed that over last year, I think. So we won't need those silly forms or anything in Epicenter. Yay.
Great.
One less thing for you guys to do.
Yep.
Laura,
Yes.
another quick question about ESY, sorry.
That's
So
okay.
our end date is June 25th because we started mid-September.
Yeah.
Does that doesn't affect if we should have a need for ESY, that end date, because it's into the summer, won't affect us at all, will it? Or do we need to clarify why we are ending so late if ESY is necessary?
No, it won't affect, you'd still hold your meeting by May 31st. It would
Okay,
just be for ESY, it would just be when your services would start. So obviously they wouldn't start until after school ends.
got you. Okay, all
So
right.
no, it won't impact anything other than that.
Okay, thanks, Laura.
Yeah. Any other questions on ESY? Susan, anything to add?
No,
She's very quiet today, y'all.
I am so quiet. Now, the only other thing is, it's like, if what the question just was is that, their school date gets out later, but I'm assuming it's because maybe they started later, or, we've had one heck of a year, everybody. So, the time span for ESY could be limited if you're going longer at the end of the year. So all those details just need to be worked out with families.
Thank you, Susan. That was actually more so my question.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah, 'cause-
say a kid's not eligible because you're going further into the summer than normal because you had the normal instructional days. So I think the conversation and eligibility is still very relevant, but there may be less timeline for availability of ESY, but all of that works out. And I think that's why the eligibility is kind of like a kid could be eligible, but maybe parents decline, and that's fine too.
Got you.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you don't get out to the end of June and you're looking at July, typically most services are provided the week of the 4th of July. And some schools I know are coming back like 1st of
Early
August.
August.
First week of August. You're talking 3 weeks. So
Maybe
that-
mom and dad are going on a vacation, and so that leaves like 2 weeks. That doesn't mean those 2 weeks can't be an opportunity, but that's up to a team to decide.
that's a great point. So when you're thinking of these ESY, think of those things. And again, like Susan said, you should hold these meetings, but you really need to have good conversation about it because, y'all, let's be honest, what is 2 weeks of service going to do for our kids? I'm just saying, is it really going to be the best use of their time? Is it really going to be effective? Is there another way we could do it? Are there other things that we can do? Remember, ESY doesn't necessarily need to be direct service. It could be sending things home, that type of stuff. So this would be another year like we've been for ESY that you all think outside the box. Isn't that exciting?
Amazing.
Yeah, and if you need ideas, again, talk with Susan or I, whoever your direct contact is, and we'll help you think it through. Okay, so we are kind of at the end of the year feedback. Susan, you do this one.
Sure. So it's kind of like, it's Oprah handing out cars, like Laura and I hand out surveys. But
You
this
get a
year,
survey.
what'd you say?
I said, you get a survey, you get a survey, everybody gets a survey.
So, Laura and I are notorious for doing surveys because we really need this feedback, even if it's constructive, and we hope it's constructive, because it helps us refine and meet the needs of what's going on right now. Because what worked 2 years ago may not work now or in 2 years. So we do read them. We use the feedback from the surveys to design all of our technical assistance. And as you guys know, we've been talking to you guys about having a focus group again this summer, because we really want to look at everything with a fresh eye and see how our tiered support can be altered. Do we look at it a different way, just to meet the needs of a growing district, and then what's been going on with COVID also. So we review everything. Don't be worried. It's all anonymous. Be constructive, and we really appreciate it. So share the link that's below. I will also put it in the chat. And anyone that works with students with disabilities directly, indirectly in your schools, please share it with them. We're also going to put it in operator's notes starting next week, so anyone can fill it out. It does not ask for any information of like name or email, except the last question if you wish to have a follow-up and a direct discussion with us. So, and it says Surrey. It's meant, the 4th bullet is meant to have the survey. So Laura and I each have a typo on record if anyone's tallying. So the survey is anonymous unless you choose to share your information for follow-up. And then everything, all the surveys, if you want it included for our analysis and planning, has to be done by Friday, May 28th.
Yeah, and y'all, please be honest. Like, this is a time for you, to let us know how it's gone. What do you need? Like Susan said, we really do look at these, and we look at how we can better support and, structure our support for everybody, because that's what we're here for. So if there's something that you didn't like or something that worked really well, let us know.
And I love analyzing all this data. It geeks me out, and Laura lets me handle it because it really makes me happy.
It does really geek her out, y'all. She loves that stuff.
Okay, updates on the web series that have not ever come out. So I was telling Laura a story today. No, I didn't tell you. I think I told Emily Baker. No, I told you a couple weeks ago, didn't I, about my Brene Brown book?
Yes, you told me the other day, and you're buying it for me for a graduation.
I already
present.
did.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Yeah, you'll get it. You'll get it. I'll get it to you Tuesday. So there's this Brene Brown book, Dare to Lead, that was a game changer for me. And I had to read it for my master's in admin coursework. And it's about being vulnerable. And you're probably going, what does this have to do with the web series? But just stick with me for a minute. So it has to be with leadership and being vulnerable and open for suggestions and acknowledging when you're wrong and all that stuff. And I think I do well acknowledging and owning when I mess up. But one thing that I struggle with, and I've always struggled with in my career, is timelines and expectations and planning. So I have a lot of ideas that I love. What do you, Laura? Now we're looking at graduation.
I clicked on something. Sorry.
So Laura and I had this great idea. I was going to run with it and do all this stuff. Well, life gets in the way, and you just can't execute it. And this is one thing I failed to execute properly. So instead of constantly saying sorry and rolling it out in piecemeals, we're just going to roll it out in July. It will be here ready for you to, when you get back from summer, to do staff training and anything you need, okay? So in that survey, end of your survey, if there's areas that are not covered on here that are listed, you can go to the next one, Laura. That are not listed, add those topics in there in the comments, because we can be working on those too. Because like you guys, things get in the way and we get sidetracked. And this year has been a whole sidetrack year. I think everyone can acknowledge. So I apologize. There's nothing I can do about it, but it will happen and it will come to you this summer. Okay.
It's okay, Susan. We still love you.
You know what? If this is the worst thing I can do this year, I think I'm good.
So we keep saying
if you're not happy. Yeah, if you're not happy, direct those communications to me. I'll talk to you. But in the end, you're going to get this because we know it's needed, and it will happen. But it's just not going to happen until the summer. Any questions on that?
Okay, so let's talk about some general stuff, y'all. We told you this is going to be quick. We're almost done. So as we're wrapping up the school year, remember and enrich. You must finalize all your contact logs or upload your logs before the school year ends. Make sure you're cleaning up drafts, everything's finalized, and you exit or end students who have left or who are graduating. Don't end them or exit them till they actually graduate, because they may come back. Don't forget about your ESY meetings. I told you your COSA feedback will be coming. The virtual sign-in, we'll go over that in a second. The SPED end of the year survey we just went over. You're also going to be receiving here in the next few weeks indicator 11 and 12 cleanup. So this is the time of year, summer. Some of you know that have been here, is a big reporting time for us. And I spend a lot of time cleaning up reports. So you'll be cleaning them up before we submit them. So you will be getting those emails about cleaning up some stuff in Enrich if we need to. For those of you that we've talked to, we are officially canceling our weekly calls as of this point. If you need us, just reach out. If you have an absolute need or desire to continue to talk to us weekly, please just reach out to whoever you work with directly, and we can continue our talk through that. But we really want to gift you back the month of May. You guys have testing coming up. You have end of the year stuff coming. We really don't think that you necessarily need to talk to us every week. We know some of you that will be a challenge. Maybe Fran Boyd will have a hard time letting it go, but I promise it'll be okay. We'll kind of hold that off in May. This also, y'all, will be the last webinar for the year. I don't hear cheers and yay. No.
Woo!
So we are wrapping up here. I cannot believe we are here at the end of the year. It's crazy. It's crazy. We will give you all your CGI feedback and your ratings. They'll be issued to you like they always are via email no later than June 4th. So give us to the first week of June. We're working on those little by little here. So you will get your rating for CGI this year and your tier for next school year. So the last kind of bullet is don't wait till the last minute for meetings. You never know what might happen. I think we all experienced that this week. We experienced the issues within Rich. So just to let you know kind of what we know and what happened. So just like you guys, and we put it out probably a month in advance, we knew that Enrich was going to be down that Friday. This was internal, this was not state, this was an internal thing. We were moving from storing Enrich on our district server to a cloud-based server. That was going to allow for a couple things. One, if our district server, for those of you that have been with us for a while, if our district server went down, then Enrich went down. So the purpose of going to the cloud was to ironically not have that happen. Another benefit of the cloud is it offers much more storage space. So remember, as we grow in district in numbers, we need more space on the server to house our Enrich because it's more students, because Enrich doesn't just hold our special ed in 504, it holds everybody. So, and with that said, we have 6 new schools opening up in the fall. So you can imagine with our users and kids and everything, we need an immense amount of space. So the cloud is supposed to solve that problem. And then it also gave back, when we go through our training this summer, it gave us back our full training site again. Yay!
Yay!
So we have an actual replicated training site, like the live version like we have now. You guys can sign in using your current, folks will sign in using their current username and password. As you get new teachers, they can get in, they can play with it, and it's a duplication of our current live system. So we are really excited about that because it's been a couple of years since we've had that ability. So, and it will be refreshed every year as new kids and new folks and everything come in. So we're really excited about that piece.
Hey, Laura,
Yeah.
do you guys already have your summer training dates set yet?
So we do not have the date set yet. Susan and I will get that on our calendar to talk about, and we'll send them out. We typically hold them, well, not typically, we do hold them in July. We haven't really made the decision if we're going to do virtual, if we're going to do a face-to-face. And I know last year we had talked about us taking our show on the road, and Susan and I would be the ones to travel and not you guys. So we just need to have those conversations. And then we'll let you know, here in the next week or two, because I know people want to get some dates on their calendars and are thinking about vacations and stuff in July.
Typically, it's that last week of July.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put a plug in for hybrid.
Do what?
I'm going to put a plug in for hybrid as an option.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Part of, we haven't, now that, schools have to be back face to face, we have a come back to work re-entry plan for us at the district office. So we're going to be all, our district office is going to be up and running with people here again in the office consistently. So
I think no matter what, of course, Laura and I would love if we could have some in person, but I think we're going to have to plan for it all.
Yeah.
And then see what rolls out.
Yeah. But we'll let you know kind of what our thought process is here in the next couple of weeks. You're not the first person that's asked, and I keep forgetting to tell Susan we need to get on a calendar and talk about that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the virtual sign-in, remember, this is our sign-in system. This is our way of tracking your participation. And we do track your participation. I'm going to tell y'all, we often get asked, can you tell us who's attending your workshops or, your webinars or things like that? If you don't complete it, you didn't attend, because we are not going to remember who is on here live. And we are not going to know if you watched it outside of this, because it doesn't show. So that's our way of tracking. So make sure that you complete this. Here's the one for today. Susan, will you put that in the chat as well?
Yeah.
again, our expectation is if your folks aren't here or whatever, that you do watch it virtually and then sign in. So if you remember, we are doing door prizes for winners. Jean, I don't know if you're on this call. She won for February or for March, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jean Palmera at Greenville Tech Charter won for March. I got to get her prize, but we're going to pick one for.
No, she won for February.
She won for
Now
February.
we're picking for March.
So now we're going to pick for March. So who's the winner, Susan Howard?
So Laura, you need to pick a number. So I'm just going to tell you guys, when you fill these out, please pay attention to the question because some of you guys didn't even put names on here. Okay. So Laura, I need you to pick a number between 1 and 16.
Let's go with 8.
Well, that is one without a name. So my question is, there's a school listed, but there's no name. Should we skip that one and do a different number?
Yeah, if they didn't fill out their name, how can we tell who it is?
Okay, so pick one through 16, not 8.
How about number 3?
That would be Michelle Bishop.
Woo, woo, Michelle Bishop, we will get your prize out to you.
Michelle Bishop, you're getting a mug with their face on it.
Oh, you're so excited. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We do have a question here in the chat. So Jackie is asking about IMDs. Did I miss the memo about them? We need to continue into the 21-22 school year. So we have not discussed that, Jackie. We haven't said anything.
I hope not.
We haven't discussed anything about IMDs, and yeah, we sure hope not. We're going to have to continue them. Remember, we haven't said discontinue them yet, but remember you have that contingency plan in Enrich now. I mean, Susan, we haven't talked about this, but I'm thinking as long as you're doing that contingency plan in Enrich, you're covered right now.
Yeah, and but you guys also have to realize the State Department, I mean, they passed that law. All schools need to be offering 5 days a week. Now there's the potential for, gosh, there could still be the potential for some sort of shutdown, but I have not been hearing schools shutting down. I've been hearing like students having to quarantine still. So I think that's a huge possibility that students may need to have that plan, but the state has not offered us any guidance. But it's still, like Laura said, it's still in Enrich.
Yeah, so I would say let's just focus on doing the contingency plans in Enrich at this point, since everybody should be back 5 days face-to-face. And we'll kind of stop, if you're doing the IMDs, don't do them anymore. Just focus on that emergency shutdown. And then if we come to a situation where we end up getting shut down again, which we're both hopefully not going to happen, then we'll address it at that time. But that's a great question, Jackie.
Mm-hmm. I think we still need to kind of be prepared for a lot.
What?
What if we already went through all, most of our IEPs after doing all the contingency plan, the IMDs, stated no contingency plan, but in the prior written notice for other factors, relevant factors, we put the instructional model documentation will be updated to reflect, current services, etc.
But it was updated with the annual review?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's still current.
Yeah, if you already did it, you don't have to go back and hold meetings and change it. That's fine if you already did, because we didn't give any guidance on it. And honestly, I think I actually forgot about them. So,
well, but it's kind of like it's there and you don't use it until something like that happens. Yeah. So as long as it was updated in a meeting with the current services, it's not, it's fine.
Yeah. But we're telling them you don't if you don't want to do them anymore, you don't have to. If you want to do them, then you certainly can, but it's not required. We would like you though to start doing the contingency plan in Enrich in place of the IMD. But if you've held meetings, you've held annuals, you've already done IMDs, please do not go back and redo them. It's fine. You can leave it when you get to that kid's annual next year. You can hit the contingency plan and do it that way. It's fine. It's not going to make that big of a difference. Any other questions on that?
I have a question, but it's not on that.
Okay. Well, any other
Hey,
questions?
hey, Laura, do you want to stop recording and everyone can share their screen who wants to, and we can
Yeah,
talk?
yeah. So yeah, I am going to stop recording. Give me 1 second. Don't leave though, y'all. We're just